Being from Oregon, I went to high school about 2 hours from here, and when I was in high school, I liked doing sports, but I didn't really understand. You always saw football and basketball on TV, but I didn't understand what track and field could be until my coach actually brought me to the Prefontaine Classic. And I was sitting in the stands as a young high school kid actually watching these two among some other athletes at the Prefontaine, and thinking, this is amazing. I had no idea that track could be like this, because maybe most of you have been to the Pre, but it's just a fantastic meet. And I think it was at that point that I finally realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like these athletes. Track and field was bigger than just the high school meets that I was going to.
And I'm sure that doesn't make anyone at this table feel
Yeah, well, sorry guys, but you were very inspirational.
All right, and then Ashton, on the tracks, I just talked a little bit about your fitness level right now coming in. Obviously, it's going to be a long summer for you in the decathlon.
Right, yeah. I feel pretty good. Something interesting happened in May. I was in Ostrava, and it was May 20th. And I was doing the long jump, and I felt something in my quad, and I thought, I'm not going to jump anymore. And I think it turns out that I actually tore the dang thing, but we figured it out later, and I feel really good right now. So I'm really confident going into trials, and of course this is my home track, so I'm pretty excited to compete here again. I'd say about an hour before the 1500. I didn't really know that I was on world record pace, and I was kind of with my coach, and he was really adamant about all these technique things he wanted me to do in the javelin. Do this, do that, do the other thing, and I was like, what is your deal? You obviously want me to throw far, why? And he just said, well, he didn't say anything, and I said, okay, what do I have to do to get the American record? Because I thought that's what he was getting at. And then he's like, no, you're actually going for the world record. And I thought, I'm a little bit more nervous now, thanks. So I sat there for an hour thinking about that, and then when I was on the line, it was just like two options. You either try to do it, or you don't try to do it. And I thought, well, I'm going to try to do it. So running it, I was nervous for the first 2 laps, and then after that, it was just honestly crowd. And I would say that's the first time that I've actually felt what they call the Hayward magic. Any other time before that, I've always felt some kind of energy from the crowd, but nothing that actually made my running easier. So that was a good experience.
And actually,
my personal ones are higher than everyone else's. So I don't really think that I see. I would say that there is more pressure the Olympic year, simply because the Olympics weighs a lot, as far as pressure is concerned. Yeah, so, but you don't have very many options, in my opinion. You have two, and that's either give up or keep going. So I just choose to keep going. But I wouldn't say I feel any less anxiety or wonder or doubt or anything than any other athletes. And my strategies for dealing with those types of things, there really is no strategy. It's just, this is a very interesting thing about track and field. You know the exact day the starting gun. And it's not like, I don't know, you just gotta be ready for that day.
Question here?
Yeah, Ashton, what kind of training were you able to do with your quad injury? And was there ever a point in this last month where you didn't think you'd be able to compete this week?
There was never a point where I didn't think I'd be able to compete, and the training was, I would say, about a quarter of what I normally did for maybe a few weeks. And it was simply just really bad judgment on my part because I never had something like that. And it obviously wasn't very severe, but I was just thinking, my quad is tight, it doesn't really allow me to run normally, but it's probably just going to go away with physiotherapy and rest. And so I should have probably got a scan right away, and we could have done all the appropriate things like stay off of it, stop irritating it, and running and all that, but I just didn't do that because I never felt that before, so that was that. Training to be optimal on August whatever. And sometimes in early July or late June, it's kind of like, well, I know I'm not like in peak shape, but I still have to get through this thing. It's not like a regular meet, it's quite a bit more important than that. So I think by the time you're at the games, you feel a bit more ready. Maybe also having gone through trials, it just makes you feel ready, because great things happen at trials. It's like, I won trials, or I got top 3, I'm obviously feeling ready. But that's my opinion.
Chris?
Actually, you have a flair for the dramatic between
Really?
the
I
trials here
didn't feel like I did.
and the World Championship last year.
Right.
Does that make it any more special or any more memorable, kind of coming down to the line for the last event?
Oh, I think in the nature of the decathlon, it always comes down to the last event. So, I don't think I have a flavor of the dramatic.
Drama queen is not the first term that comes to mind.
But it's, you know, it's a big point.
exciting.
Oh, the exciting, yeah. It's just the nature of the event. It always comes down to the 15. And the 15, it's like you watch us trudge along, and it's like, is he gonna make it? There's, 30 seconds to a minute of, we don't know what's gonna happen. As you're suffering down the straightaway.
As a follow, last year's, or the 2012 trials, there were so many legends of the decathlon here in Eugene. What did that mean to you? Did you get to interact with them at all?
Yeah, I saw everybody was here. It was the 100th year anniversary of the decathlon, and for all those guys to be invited back was very cool, because I think the older you get, you realize there was people who came before you that set the way, and the word that just means respect. There's a lot of respect for the people who do that, and for the people who did that in my event to all be there, that was very special.
Okay, great.